In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create this 3D card flip effect in Framer, which you can use to create interactive sections just like this in your website. And so to begin, we're going to start by creating a new component. So in your project, we're going to go across to Assets, and we're going to click this plus and add a new component, which I'm going to call Card Flip. Now press Create. I'm just going to scale this up just a little bit, and we're going to zoom in here. Then hit F on the keyboard, and we're going to draw out a frame. And let's open up our layers, and we're going to call this frame our highlight. Now right click your frame, and we're going to add a stack, and we're going to call this stack front. Now select your highlight, and we are going to change the width to fill and the height to fill as well. And we're just going to remove the color fill from our highlight layer. Now select your front stack, and here we're going to scroll down and we're going to give it a fill. We're going to set this to an image, and we're going to choose an image. And so this is where you can select your card graphic. So I'm using an SVG, but you can also use JPEGs and PNGs for this. So I'm just going to select that and open it up. And now we can just adjust the size of our stack here. So I'm going to change the width to fit image and the height to fit image as well. And now we just need to resize our frames. You can do that manually, or what I like to do is just select my top layer here and change the width to fit content and the height to fit content, and then just changing that back to fixed. Now we can give it some highlights. So select your highlight layer. We're going to give it a fill. We're going to set this to a gradient with 3 stops. So our third stop a little bit off center here, which I'm going to color white. And we're going to set these end stops to black. Now hover over this gradient line here until you get this arrow. And you can just rotate your gradient about 145 degrees. And we're just going to reduce the opacity to around 0.23. Now we're going to click this plus button next to styles, and we're going to add some blending, and I'm going to have that set to multiply. And finally we can select our shadows, and I'm going to give it a shadow on the inside, and I'm going to change the color to white and set the opacity to 100%. And I'm going to adjust the X here to 1. And so if I zoom in, now we have this nice highlight along the top edge of our card. Cool. So those are our highlights. Now we just want to round off the corners of our card. So we need to do that for each layer. So for the highlights, we're just going to set the radius to 8. Then go up to your front stack, and we're going to change the radius to 8 as well. And finally select your top layer, and all we have to do here is just remove the fill. Now we have these nice rounded edges. So we've got our front face. To create the back face, all we have to do is select our front layer, right click, and we are going to duplicate that. And we're going to call this one back. Now with your back layer selected, we can change the image here. So go down to your fill, and we're just going to choose our image, and this is where you can select your back graphic for your card. And now that is uploaded to our stack. Now they're sitting next to each other at the moment, so we need these to be sitting on top of one another. So first step is to select both your front and your back. We're going to right click, and we're going to add a frame. And we're going to have our frame set to fill. And the height, I think the height's fine. So we'll leave the height for now. Now I'm just going to pull my front layer to the top, so it's sitting on top of our back layer, and I'm going to rename our frame layer to faces. Cool. So after that, we can now start to add some 3D effects. So with your faces layer selected, on the right hand side, we're going to scroll down to transform, and we're going to add a rotate. We're going to set this to 3D, and that's good. And now we're going to add perspective, set this to 1500, and finally we're going to set preserve 3D. Cool, so we now have the front face of our card. With that selected, we are going to add a variant. So now with your variant layer selected, we are going to select the faces frame, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to adjust the y-axis for our rotate. So you can see if we rotate it this way, it's going to rotate right, and if we rotate it in the negatives, it's going to rotate left. So you can choose which way you want it to rotate. I'm going to have mine set to left, so I'm going to set that to negative 180. And as you can see, it's just rotated our front face, so now that's just sitting in reverse. So what we have to do is select your front layer, right click, and we're just going to hide that layer. So now that's all done, we just have to connect the two layers for our interaction. So select your primary layer, and we're just going to draw this little arrow between the two, and we're going to have the interaction set to click. And now select your variant 2, and we're going to draw an arrow back to the first layer, and again have the interaction set to click. So now if we preview that by pressing this play button here, we should have this interactive 3D flip effect. Now you can play around with the animation by having your primary layer selected, and under styles next to transition, you can adjust the time of your animation and the bounce effect or any delays that you want to add to it. But I'm happy with how that looks for now. So I've then gone and built out this little scene here for our cards to animate in, and then you can go in and flip them over to reveal your hand. And I'll drop this in the description below so you can go try it out for yourself. And so that was how to create a 3D flip effect in Framer. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more design content.